They are listening. Not much we can do about it either, but we have to have this conversation. I want to say greeting, family. News. This is the Black News Network, the real voice of Black USA. We bring truth to the lies that you hear every day. Introducing the some and presenting to others, my friend and co-host, Mr. Claude Foster. Thank you for being at BNN 247.
Yeah, glad to be with you, but my brother. Looking forward to our discussion today.
All right, we definitely going to another phase in communication, y'all. Um, I've been thinking about what's really the problem because we fight each other more than we do them. And that bothers me. I want to be able to say to my people and to our people that we are no longer beating each other up. We're no longer trying to kill, or I resent that word, unalive the people that look like us. I'll put it like that. So the topic today is communication. Why we fight based on how we communicate, and who we fight with based on how we communicate. And I want you on TikTok and on our other platform to think about what I'm talking about and compare the two, because this is something we ain't used to having, and we ain't used to talking about because we don't talk enough. We don't want to talk about it, just like we don't talk about burials and death and all that stuff. So, with that, Claude, what do you think is happening here?
Well, I think the reason why we don't communicate is I think that we let uh, our divisions keep us from communicating. It's like whether you're Alpha or you're AKA or you're Delta or you belong to this organization, you belong. We got so many barriers to our communication that we didn't have back in the day when we was united for one cause. Now there are many causes, and a lot of other factors come in like sincerity. What are you really doing for me lately? Kind of attitude. Uh, you like you said earlier, you drive a nice car, I drive a jalopy. I'm gonna be jealous because you drive a nice car. I don't want to hear nothing you got to say. Because in order for you to get that nice car, you had to do something that was detrimental to my well-being as a fellow black man. What makes you different? Why do you get to live where you live, and I'm over here struggling? What did you sell out to the man? So we've lost that sense of trust. That's one of the main things you need in communication. Is trust what the other person is saying.
Yes.
Trust what the other person is doing. Back in the day, when the civil rights marchers came into your hometown, they didn't come into your hometown with three-piece suits on. They came in your hometown dressed just like you did. Respectfully. The teachers, the professional class of that time period was part of the community. You don't have that trust anymore, so therefore you don't have communication in the black community like we should demand. And I think that's why we was talking about elections off the air. I think that's why people are not voting.
People are not voting.
They're not. No, people. How can you have 1.4 million registered voters and you have less than 100,000, like in San Antonio? Look at the total number of voters and look at the turnout.
It's pretty sad that we don't have a real good turnout of voters,
I mean,
in our culture.
our election is the way we communicate. We communicate our priorities. We communicate our uh, agenda in terms of where we're going through the vote, and yet we don't participate.
So
And I think we don't participate because there's lack of communication. Like trying to communicate with what we call the voters at the bottom of the well. How do we communicate with them?
well, I mean, I don't separate the bottom of the well with no stratification level. We all, to me, on the same level, whether you speak upper middle class English or whether you
It should. That's how it used to be.
speak or whether you speak the way Chinese folks speak. We all speak different. But what bothers me the most, Claude, is the power and control that we fight about. And we're fighting about power and control that we ain't never gonna have either way we look at it. It's power and control of something that we don't possess. I mean, it is care, closeness, and respect, recognition. We fight to figure out our needs. We fight when we feel threatened. We fight when we want something and can't get it. I mean, we fight when we don't want you to know the truth about what really the problem is. You, like, for instance, we went over to the movies and I didn't have enough money to get in. And you said, man, you poor as hell. You ain't going up in here. And, I'm going to want to fight you because you done called me out now. But you told the truth now. So all the time, just because you're telling the truth, it don't make it the way it ought to be. It still can be detrimental to the relationship. Because you could, just like I was saying, when I was growing up, this one guy said something to me that really bothered me to this for a long time. It don't bother me now, but it bothered me for a long time. He said, when I got on the school bus, I used to ride the school bus. I said, and you ride the school bus, you got your seat that you sit in every day, 5 days a week, going back and forth. You ride it. Going to school, you ride it coming home. Same seat. Got on the bus, he in my seat. I told him to move. He didn't want to move. So I stood there for a minute, told him to move again. And he said, oh man, I'm going to move, but you acting just like a pregnant bee that just got hard. And I didn't say nothing, but the whole bus fell out laughing all over the floor. And I didn't say nothing. But when we stepped off that bus, I stepped out the bus and back right up by the door. And as soon as his foot hit the ground, he met my fingers upside his head. And I just left him right there, but never heard another word about it either.
Well, that lick you gave him was a form of communication.
Yeah, that was communication. It was the wrong form of communication, but I couldn't verbally change what has happened here.
But in terms of communication, because the basis of communications haven't changed, right?
No. To me, it's the same thing. It's 5 or 6 elements of information. Who, what, when, where, why, how. That's it.
So what has changed between then and now? Because the basics of communication is still the same.
What has changed is awareness. So if you don't know you poor, if you don't know you're a slave, if you don't know you don't have this, and then you get the exposure to make you aware of all of these beautiful things in the world today, and why don't you have any? Then that gives you a reason to want it. But if you ain't got the riches that it takes to get these items, then you come up with a way to get the riches, and it comes with anger. I'm mad because you got it. And I'm gonna do something about that. If you let me catch you in the dark space,
right?
I'm gonna have what you got, and that's the bottom line. We're so aggressive though towards us. That's what I'm looking at. Like, for instance, you and I live in the same neighborhoods, live across the street from each other. I'm watching your driveway, you watch my driveway. Hey, we ain't doing this, but I'm just saying. Mm-hmm. We're watching each other's driveway. And you pull up in a brand new car. 6 weeks later, I pull up in a brand new car. I get new windows put on my house. A month later, you got new windows put on your house. So it's almost like you see these things going on in your neighborhood, and you see people. If you watch neighborhood, I don't know what it is, trust thy neighbor or something, and the neighbors are fighting about property lines, about building or putting a fence up, or about working on the house, doing the kitchen, hammer, using the hammer, putting up a shed in the back. People are fighting about what you do with your stuff. And if you don't want to do what they continue to do, it's subject to get to violence. it's subject to get bad. You know, in each week or each day, each person, the person with the problem will try to do something to elevate this whole situation. And before you know it, you're gonna have a problem. And that is what we don't want to get to, is where we're fighting when we don't have to. And if you're beneficial enough to have the money to buy this, then you should buy it. It's your money. You do what you want with it, and it's no business of mine whether it's good or bad.
But what is the difference today? A black man in a suit in 1960. Let's take a black man in a suit in 1960 versus a black man in a suit in 2026. What's the difference?
And a black man in a suit then was for status. In other words, to let you know that I got dignity about myself,
Right.
pride about myself. I am a man. That's what
Right.
that's about.
And what is it in 2026?
And see, well, in the 1950s, I'm going to go to 2026. In the 1950s, you did this to elevate from what you were relegated to. And you were relegated to raggedy clothes and no shoes. So now you're going from that extreme to presenting yourself at a level where there's no question about it. You ain't on that plantation no more. So now this is the only way you're going to see that I'm not on that plantation no more. If you walking down the street and you on plantation clothes, and you walking down the street and you in a suit, 10 times out of 10, the police gonna pick up that man looking like he off the plantation, and he gonna wave at the one in the suit.
But what was the impact of this? Of what was the impact of right after slavery, back in the early 1900s, we had to bow. We passed the white man. We had to nod. We had to bow. We had to nod.
I grew up with all that. Awesome.
What was the impact of that in terms of communication and how we communicate?
The impact on what? On the black man?
Yeah, on us today in terms of how we communicate.
It takes a lot of stuff with looking inside of yourself and figuring out who you are. If you can figure out who you are, then the way you speak don't matter to you anymore. You will speak as you speak the way you can, huh?
But I mean, did we overcompensate or did we overcorrect?
Back in the 50s?
No, today. Are we overcorrecting that form of communication today?
I think we've corrected this form of communication. I think we don't represent ourselves with who we really are. We don't. If you look at 1,000 black men or 1,000 black people, that 1,000 group will not represent the quality that's in that 1,000 group, because these attires don't mean jack diddly to some of our people. And we don't have to wear shoes. Like I got a friend named Dan. He'll go to the most elegant meeting with a pair of sandals on and shorts. He didn't care. So a suit didn't make him. These are like retired colonel or something. And this is how he operated. And he did not worry about, and I seen him for years in shorts and sandals, going to business meetings and everything else. And people look at him like, we should talk to this guy because he in shoes and sandals. But when you look at his bank account, then you're knocking down the door to get him in. That's the difference. The dollar makes a difference. You can be poets on the way and wear a beautiful suit, and make yourself look like you're somebody, even if you ain't got no money. Money don't make the person. The person makes the money. That's what most of our people must understand, that the dollar don't make you. You make that dollar. And that's what we've got it backwards at. We put rims on our car so somebody else can look like. Because what do you see when you driving the car? You damn sure don't see them rims. We put on what $1,000 pair of shoes when $100 pair of shoes will do the same thing. Cover your feet. So you spent $1,000 on a purse when a purse can cost you $50 and be just sufficient.
Well, we found that out with the tariffs, how much those purses really cost.
Yeah, pennies on a dollar, right?
But what is in us to make us spend that kind of money on that kind of?
We want to be.
What do we want to be?
We want to be on a level.
Okay.
And I ain't gonna say a level that we don't fit on. I'm gonna say we just want to be on a level. It can be any level you want to be on.
You won't see.
Want to be on levels that we don't fit on.
You won't see Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, any past president wear any clothes with a logo on it.
I don't wear clothes with logos. I'm the same way. I don't put nobody's name on my body. You know, it'd be on my drawers because they're kissing my butt. That's about it.
So you don't wear Nike. You don't wear.
Yeah, I wear that kind of stuff. You know,
Yeah,
but
well, that's the name.
on my feet. You on my feet or you on my butt. I don't. You know, I ain't got on no polo shirt. I ain't got on no
Louis Vuitton,
Gucci or whatever you. I don't even know the names of these people.
yeah.
No Gucci.
Why do you think we do that?
Because of the name, the status. It's status.
What are we communicating? Are we communicating? We're not communicating wealth.
What are we communicating?
Yeah.
We're communicating that, hey, I make enough money to afford this. What about you? That's what we communicate.
Well, there's a whole lot of people that wear that stuff that can't afford it, but they wear it because.
Well, you don't know if they can afford it or can't. So the question is in the air. You don't know. For instance, a woman goes to the club, right? I'm just using this as a scenario, y'all. This may or may not be the truth. A woman goes to the club. She's the finest thing in the club. Got on the nicest looking dress and the most nicest 6-inch heel and makeup built, you know, just perfect. You pick this woman up. You go home with this woman. You damn near got doodle on the toenail. Baby's got pampers that's weighing 4 pounds. I knew you had kids. You don't want to sit on the couch because the dog that took over the couch. So you going in this environment because you thought this woman had it going on the way she looked, but she don't. So material things is the biggest lie that you can see. For instance, Elon Musk, material things. You know, all the stuff that he had, but he has technically, in reality, he has nothing. You know what I mean?
But you don't see him wearing fancy clothes or.
People with money don't dress up.
Right.
A lot of people that with money don't dress up.
Don't dress up.
People with no money dress up every day. You know, why would we spend money on car rent? Why would we spend money on purses? Why would we spend money on $1,000 suits when you can get one for $150 at the Suits Warehouse and they do the same thing? I mean, why would you?
Do you think that there are certain professions? There are certain
$150, $200, $300,000 car, maybe more, when you can buy a damn good car for less than $100,000? No less than $50,000.
Do you think there are certain professions that are more guilty of that than others?
More guilty of what?
Trying to be exclusive, you know, in terms of the way they dress and the way their image and all this exclusivity.
Exclusive?
You know, like teachers, like college professors.
Professions?
Yeah.
Well, I look at professions like, let's say, school, you said teaching. You have to dress a certain way, in my opinion, to be a decent teacher, to be a teacher representing the school. I would rather if you worked at my school, you looked a certain way, you dressed a certain way, and that's not saying that you need to dress in $1,000,000, $1,000 suits. Just clean, decent clothes, dressed the good old American way. And see, people don't realize there is a good old American way. And it's not us abandoning our culture because we wear a suit. This is part of your life in 2026 is a suit and tie. That's part of you, part of America, because you live in America. That's what you wear. If you lived in Scotland, you'd be wearing a skirt. Wherever you're at, you're not going to necessarily continue 100% your traditions. You might practice your traditions at your home or in a small community, but just because they're your traditions, that don't mean the world has to accept them. And you don't have to accept the world's tradition of wearing a suit if you don't want to. But you take the good with the bad. You take the consequences of not wearing that suit with the bad. Now, what are your chances of getting this particular salary if you're working for somebody when you're going to apply for it and you're not wearing a suit? What are your chances of winning? You cutting your chances to start with. You going in there like they owe you something and they don't owe you jack shit. You can just go on and on. You're talking about determining if the fight is actually about control, care, respect. Is it about an immediate trigger that you use? We're talking about fighting each other. So what's your trigger? Do you have a trigger? If somebody, like my trigger back 20 years ago, 30 years ago was GET, get. I couldn't have nobody saying get to me. I didn't like that.
That's kind of like a southern thing, ain't it?
Yeah.
Fetch.
I just, like fetch me this paper or something like that. Can you take it? You might be able to take it from me if you look like me. But if you don't look like me, you look like this, don't be trying to say
Well, that's not a go get some. That's not a that ain't a word you use with black folks in terms of communication. Right.
You can't. White people don't know that. They don't know. They don't know that you cannot use certain words with black people. And communication is the problem. This is why we fight. Like I can be around black people all day long, and I can say the N word all day long. People might not like it, but they ain't gonna say nothing. They just might not like it. But let one of them come over there and try to say this N word just like I've been saying it. You might not even make it out of there. You're gonna stay there for a while, and you ain't gonna leave in the way you came in, because certain things over there is okay, but you can't infiltrate certain parts of our lives, and that's a part of our life we reserve for others. You're not part of that, so why are you trying to be part of something that you're not accepted in? Just like you don't accept us in your golf clubs and your fraternities and some of your other bull crap, we don't accept you in our circle of blackness. How about that?
We America is. I think we're at that crossroads in America where when you look at all the organizations that we created, you look at the sororities and fraternities, and I belong to all of it. But I've had to. But when you look at the creation, and you look at the purpose, and you look at the fact that these organizations still exist, that means we're never going to be able to be members of the club
You're right.
because we put up the barriers to being members of the club ourselves.
What do you mean by that? Explain it.
Why do you have a black fraternity and sorority? Because you couldn't belong to the white fraternities and sororities. So we created our own.
See, that's a misnomer. I'm gonna say why I think it's a misnomer because when you say that you're assuming that the white folks had all the fraternities before we had it. You know, Prince Hall is the oldest fraternity in America.
Yeah, but Prince Hall got his charter from Britain.
Yeah, but he still
So,
got it
well,
before
what I'm saying,
that day.
but my point was, why did Prince Hall need a separate charter?
Because the white folks don't accept blacks as equal, and they could not participate in the Masonic rituals in the White Lodge.
So you're saying so clarify that. So you're saying the white person wouldn't accept us as equals. So we created our own.
Yes,
Unequal. Is it inherently unequal?
everything about white and black is unequal.
So
White
why
is
so
what
so why do
recessive.
we maintain them?
Hmm?
Why do we maintain?
Let me break it down.
Why do we maintain the separate organizations if they're inherently unequal?
I'm gonna break it down for you.
Break it down.
No matter what we do, we cannot mix. Everything we put our hand on is gonna come out black. Ain't nothing you can do about that. The world population is not white. The minority population on this planet is a declining white population. And because it's a declining white population, you do everything in your power to survive. And what are the things, and this ain't just started yesterday, this has been the last 200 years. They have done everything they could possibly do to survive.
Well, let me ask you a question. Are
Mm.
there any sororities and fraternity black sororities and fraternities in Africa?
Never lived there, never tried to figure it out. I don't know.
I mean, are there?
I don't know. I never even looked at that as a question to me. I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm posing that as a question to you.
I can look it up. But let me finish my explanation. Because none of these, there's a recessive gene. White will always be subordinate to black, no matter what, because black can produce white. White cannot produce black. The only way anything white becomes black is by genetic mixing with one of the people of color on this planet. So with that being said, no, these people come into power because they got no choice or they perish. And they are preventing themselves from perishing by trying to get rid of everybody and control everything. And they have been successful in America because they came here with that in mind and they have fulfilled a mission. That's what I look at right now. The white charge are fulfilling a mission.
So when is something inherently unequal? Besides school.
It's inherently unequal, man, when one group obtains a better benefit than the other, or a more lucrative benefit than the other, or an easier road to travel than the other.
Well, when you look at African American access to the top levels of everything in society, and you look at the low percentages of African Americans, less than 1% here and 1% there, 1%. So does a separate structure in America, would that ever close that gap?
In this country, the United States of America, there are many, many different cultures. Under no circumstances, in my opinion, that two of these cultures will survive as one. In other words, for the next 1,000 years, we will always be black. Well, we're not black, Negro, colored, Indian, none of that. We'll always be black. Now, this is something I've done lately. Look back in all these old movies, right? You're going to see a lot of people with red hats or fezzes with nothing on it. I never noticed that in certain movies, like Indiana Jones, all that kind of stuff in the Middle East and so on. You see a lot of people, even with Malcolm X, and when he went to Mecca, you saw a lot of people with red fezzes on. Those people were the Moors. These are the same people that occupied this land before the Britons came over.
But before you go,
Mm-hmm.
remember, Malcolm belonged to the Muslims, right?
Mm-hmm.
He went to Mecca and he found out that Muslims were more than just black, right?
Right.
That they were white, they were this, whatever. So he separated from the group, the Muslims, the Nation of Islam, because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I look at that analysis in the same way I look at all these black institutions that were created as a result of a separate but unequal society. Once we won that battle, why don't we still keep that infrastructure in place?
Separate but equal.
Right.
I only can say we're so determined to become the greatest.
If Malcolm,
let me ask you.
Okay.
We're so determined to become the greatest leader of an organization, or not necessarily the leader. We're determined to become the leader, and we're not determined to improve the organization. So each organization has a hierarchy and an ascension problem. I'm saying problem. Hear me. Say problem.
But let me ask this another way. Okay, because you avoiding what I'm asking you.
All right, Richard.
Okay, you remember the Green Book?
Mm.
The Green Book was needed. Why?
Because black people couldn't go to certain places.
Couldn't stay at certain hotels. No, it wasn't needed because they couldn't stay at certain places. It was needed so they could have a place to stay, so they know where to go get gas.
But
so
you wouldn't
run out of gas.
Wasn't created, right?
Right.
Because they couldn't stay at white folk hotels.
Okay, so once we passed laws that's no longer needed anymore, the Green Book went away.
Right.
Okay, it's true for the Green Book, but it ain't true for none of the other organizations.
No. It's only true on our behalf. What we do. We decided that we no longer needed the Green Book. However, that did not negate the need for the Green Book. Even though the Green Book was there, and now segregation is all this big deal going on, we got rid of the Green Book too quick because we thought we thought we were going to be equal.
I like that answer.
We ain't never been equal. What answer? I mean, I'm just telling you what I would think it would be. I mean, we got rid of the Green Book right after the Civil Rights Act passed of 1963, right? 100 years after the Emancipation Proclamation.
Right. The Civil Rights Act was 63.
100 years, right, after the Emancipation Proclamation. Ain't that something? They know these people know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly when it is. And they like when he I can't get this out of my mind. Why did he throw June 19th in there on top of George Floyd? Why did he do that? That was the dumbest thing a white man could do, in my opinion. So Joe Biden can kiss my grits for doing that. I thought that was the most disrespectful thing a president could do until I met this one. This was worse. So we as Black people, we gotta be able to communicate through you stepping on my shoe. I don't need to beat you up because you stepped on my shoe. I don't need to fight you because you said something to my girlfriend. All I need to do is advise you that that's not acceptable. Don't do that around my family. Don't do it again. Now, if you do it again, there's a problem. But my job is to initially communicate to you the limits of our interaction or you interacting with my family. So I can communicate that as a brother to brother.
So,
Hmm?
go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
I'm not trying to say, Mofo, I ain't trying to say all that. I'm saying, hey, man, let me talk to you for a minute. You know, I just think it's respectful when you don't do this kind of stuff to somebody's wife. I appreciate you didn't do that again. You say that something reasonable, respectful, and this is the biggest thing that we fault on. When we feel threatened or disconnected from what's happening in life, we have to change the way we look at the issue. We got to determine if the fight is actually about the control, the care, or respect rather than the immediate trigger. Using the I statement is the best experience you can use towards dealing with a person-to-person, personal conversation. Because if I come to you and say, Claude, you messed up, man. You didn't say the when you should have said the. So I come to you and I say, Claude, you messed up when you should have said the instead of the. So I might come to you and say, hey, Claude, I was reading this statement that was said in our presentation, and I think that if we had said the instead of the, that might have been a little bit, that sound a little bit better. What do you think? This is what I would have done. What you would do. What you think?
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Then telling you you messed up by using the wrong word in this sentence. That's just a small scenario of what I'm talking about. A little bitty thing, but that can be money, that could be cleanliness, that could be leaving a mess somewhere, that could be drawers, that could be anything. That could be so many different things to cause that type of conversation. And the moment I point the finger at you, when I point that finger at you, I lost you. I lost the conversation because I blame you for whatever that situation may be. And there's a 50-50 chance that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Right.
But if I'm blaming you before I even know what I'm talking about, hear what I'm saying? If I am blaming you when I don't know what I'm talking about, I ain't heard the other side of the story, your side of the story, then I am as wrong as they can get. Because I didn't take the time to consider what you felt about the reason for you using that word. So it's about you reflecting within on everything you disagree with outside of you. Because there's a 50-50 chance that what you thinking might not fit in society. It could be wrong. You don't know. Just because you believe it, that don't make it right. Just because you read a word, that don't make it right. Because you have taken that word and made it your word and used it the way you saw it benefited you, not them. But when you get more than one person involved, that word that you're using between the two has to benefit both, or there's a problem. So if you say to your spouse, I love you, and your spouse says, why did not they not repeat what you just said? Why did they not say, I love you too? Maybe they don't love you. That could be the issue. So it's about communication. Everybody sees communicating differently. Nobody takes the same word the same way. And today's topic is about why we fight. We fight because we don't take the time to understand. Before you jump in knee deep into a fight after the first encounter, you better step back and think twice, because you can throw them words out there, you can't take them back. They're not coming back. So if you use those words, you can rest assured that they won't be forgotten. You can say, I'm sorry. You can say, I didn't mean that. But when you put it out there, you get it back. You know, I heard this the other day. It is very difficult for a honeybee to convince a fly that honey is better than shit. It's difficult. I don't even know what that means. I just heard it in it. What does that mean to you when I say that?
Say it again.
That's just something I heard, man. And I just used it. It was funny to me. Go ahead. What'd you say? Nah, I'm sorry. I had to get. If I don't say something at a moment like that, it's gone forever.
It's gone.
Yeah. So go ahead. You get out your way.
No,
We started off with why in the 50s and 60s black folks wore suits, and in 2026 we look like stupid when we walk out. It's all about self-respect too, you know.
Well, no, we've created this whole separate was never equal, but we created this whole separate structure. And the only thing that we've seemed to gotten rid of is the Green Book. Everything else that we...
I don't quite understand what you mean.
Okay, we've created this second structure within the black community, right? Or separate organizations, separate professional groups, separate associations. So we've created all these separate organizations in this separate structure, and the only thing that we've gotten rid of since Brown v. Board of Education that says separate was always unequal is the Green Book. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That ruling was in 1957, right? 54. And the only thing that we've gotten rid of that we, other than separate but unequal schools, was the Green Book, right? How about everything else?
That's a great question. I mean, there were things along the way, but you know, I can sit here and give you a list of what we changed because of segregation. But I can't tell you this.
Well, we've created more. We didn't have, in 1954, we didn't have the Congressional Black Caucus.
But did we at any point in time think that segregation was the way that is what we needed? So when Martin Luther King was fighting for us to be segregated in America, we're the only ones wanted to be segregated. White folks didn't want to be around us in that capacity. We wanted to be around them in that capacity. Why? Because they own every damn thing and we needed them that way? What was the reason for us fighting so hard for integration? So I'm asking.
To live up to live up to the creed that this country was founded on, that all men are created equal
So we're
and endowed
fighting.
with certain inalienable rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
That's beautiful.
And can you pursue that
All I want to
if
know,
you self-segregate?
all I want to know is what is the date on what you're talking about? What is the date on all men are created equal? When all of this stuff was done about the Declaration of Independence, what's the other one? The national anthem, Declaration of Independence. There's a couple more that I can think of at this moment, but they all were sanctioned while my ancestors were slaves. So the first time we've ever been recognized other than cattle, the first time we were recognized other than cattle is when we were 3/5 of a man. So it took 2 slaves to make 1 mate. 3/5 of a man bull crap. It did not at any point in time satisfy any need that we may have had. It satisfied the need that they had. The one thing that I know about America is that everything is happening exactly the way it has been planned. Don't think this is new. This discussion, this debate of our Constitution and our Congress and our House of Representatives and our legislature and all of this is exactly where it intended to be in 2026. We're the one with the biggest issues. We don't seem to understand how detrimental this is to us. This is a crisis. This is bad. Our freedom in America is at stake. Our existence in America is at stake. And when you can sit back and say that you are not a 100% unequivocal, seasoned, what do you call them, citizen, when you're unequivocally a citizen of America, then you can say you are separate but equal or equal. The segregation that we went through had no significant value for us. We won nothing. What is it that we won by taking the athletes out of our inner city school and sending them to white schools that had no talent and needed our black inner school kids with the talent? So when a black child comes to me and say, well, I was the only one that had to commute all the way to the other side of town. Now, why was that? Because you had a skill that they needed on the other side of town. What was your skill? I'm talking to you, Clyde. What was your skill?
Well, it could be everything. It could be academic performance.
Mm-hmm. They needed your grades. They needed everything.
Athletic performance.
Yes, yes, yes.
But they needed something.
Mm-hmm. They needed something. And so they put you on a bus, sent you 10, 20 miles away, out of your parental control system, because everybody in the neighborhood was your parent. Now you got a bunch of strangers over there that don't know jack shit about you. They don't know anything. Excuse my profanity. They don't know anything about you. Now you're in their school system and you're being who you are, a black child. And they don't know what to do, so they call the police. Go ahead. You were going to say something?
No, I really can't. I mean, I can say it, but when you look at the dual society that we live in America,
Dual.
like I said, we got rid of the Green Book, but we replaced it with the National Directory of African American Organizations. Look how thick that is. These are all these are all black organizations. All black.
That's a lot of damn organizations.
All black.
Ooh, that's a lot of organizations. Just
Now,
do that and point to one and tell me what to say.
okay, you know about the 100 Black Men of America,
What?
the 100 Black Men of America,
Okay, I
A.
know about that.
A. Philip Randolph Institute, African American Women's Clergy Association, African American Coalition, African American Development Institute, African Environmental Research Consulting Group, African Heritage Studies Association, African Methodist Episcopal Church, Africa Care,
That's
Afro American Historical and Genealogical Society,
thousands.
Alliance of Black Entertainment Technicians, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity,
It's me.
American Association of Affirmative Action,
Everything.
American Association of Blacks in Energy, American Bridge Association, American Health and Beauty Aids Institute,
All right.
American League of Financial Institutions, Ancient Egyptian Arabic
you
Order
believe-
Nobles of the Mystic Shrine Incorporated.
Do you believe the Twin Towers fell on their own?
It's hard to believe they fell like that on their own.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe that they fell systematically like that on their own. I'm not an engineer or nothing,
Mm.
but I've never seen anything like that.
It's kind of strange that they fell straight down, though.
On top
That's
of
the part that I could. But they couldn't have. There's no other way for it to fall when the problem started at the top. You know, it fell straight down, and I don't know. That's how I've always seen buildings demolished. They fall straight down, or they got a planned path for every single building that they demolish. So I just wanted to throw that in there. It just crossed my mind while we were
Okay,
talking.
let me ask you another question.
Mhm.
Okay, we got rid of the Green Book. Why didn't we get rid of Jack and Jill of America?
What is? Tell me about Jack and Jill of America. I don't know.
Jack and Jill is a nationwide. It's in Nigeria. Jack and Jill of America provides educational, cultural, civics, and social programs for minority youth.
Mm.
The
Now,
current
who is
theme:
Jack and who is Jill?
Jack is the little boy, Jill is the little girl.
Yeah, but who is it?
Oh,
Where did they come from? Is it a black boy or a white boy? A black girl or white girl? So Jack, when I see Jack and Jill,
it's always white.
so why are we? That's like saying Humpty Dumpty, African American group. You know, white egg, boy, black group. Don't make sense.
But you go back to why all these different associations and groups were formed.
Because we can't get along. Same with churches. Well, that's exactly why we
It's
need
not that we,
churches when we
no,
don't
not
need.
that we couldn't get along. It was the fact that we were excluded. So we created our own organizational exclusion.
Yeah,
We created our own.
but how? How? Where did it start from? In history, what I see as far as groups and going our time since the Civil War, we started out with forming churches. No, actually, we started out with forming Masonic groups from the Prince Hall era, because Masonic groups allow people to meet in their buildings as churches. So Masonic groups, church groups, then usher groups, then choir groups, then the deacon board group, and and shit group from there. Then the deacon board got mad at each other because the preacher was messing with somebody else, and they split. So and they started another church. The Catholics Protestants got mad at Catholics because they didn't like the way they were preaching, and the Protestant in the Church of God in Christ got mad at the Baptists because the Baptists did something they didn't like. You know, every single one of these religions were mad at the one that they belonged to, so they created their own, and they were all created by, I think it's eight. In my book, I listed all the religions. I think it was like 9 or 8 to 11 or some different religions. I put the quantities in there as well. And each religion was created by Mr. Billy. And if you don't know who I'm calling Mr. Billy, that ain't my problem. I keep telling you who Mr. Billy is all the time. You don't.
Who is Mr. Billy?
Oh, no, you didn't. Mr. Billy's the white.
Oh.
That's who Mr. Billy is. Yeah, that's why I just, rather than say white man, I said Mr. Billy. If people don't know who Mr. Billy is, they ain't been on no tractor. They don't know who see him come across the field with a line of dirt in the air. You know where he can't get to you under no circumstance. But he can get to your house. And he been there. Well, I seen it. Pretty sad. That's why I say get off the white man plantation. Or get off Mr. Billy's plantation. But when it comes to segregation, which is, we were talking about communication, then we got into segregation. If we, as Black people, don't get to the point where we can communicate our way through our own problems, and we cannot cut each other off and decide that we're going to work through this problem, and we can agree to disagree, but we're going to move forward with our efforts instead of splitting our efforts every single time and always starting back from scratch and having to start over. However, if you got an organization that's 100 damn years old, why you only got $5,000 in the bank? That's what I don't understand. And I ain't picking on nobody. I'm sorry, this is organized. Not only some organizations, seem like every single one of these organizations that are Black. Like I said, we're not Black, African American, colored, Negro, none of that. But because most people understand this word Black as us, I use it in my home. So Black people gotta understand who they are, and people love to see us fight. They want us against each other. They want us trying to control the block when we don't own a damn thing on the block. They want us to look that way. As long as they keep out of our neighborhoods, you see what Trump has done. He's realigned all the districts in Houston, or he's told Abbott to do it. It's been happening in California, in Oregon, in Connecticut, in Maine, in all these different cultures where there's a small minority, a small group of Blacks, not a minority. They have tried to redistrict. This is happening in our benefit too, though, don't get me wrong. But it was started by the Republicans here in Texas, changing the district line so they can reduce the amount of Blacks or increase the amount of Blacks so it can weaken the vote. So you have to be careful when you're communicating, and you have to communicate them correctly. So when I talk about communication, it could be the best kept secret in the world if you don't know how to communicate. Then it's just your secret. So it's best that you understand how other people receive information. When there's communication, when there's an interaction, there's 6 different things occurring at that moment within that second of a communication. It's the thought from the sender. It's the sender sending the thought to the receiver. It's the receiver receiving the thought. It's the receiver interpreting the thought. It's the receiver translating the thought and resending it back to the sender, where the sender is asking, is seeing if that receiver has understood what was said by the sender. So It's a complicated process that's occurring that we don't even stop to think about what actually just happened. So when you're communicating with someone, you take the time to formulate your sentences and don't immediately react to what somebody has to say. You respond to it. You respond rather than react, and you respond in a manner where you give your brain time enough to think about it. But for instance, you're in an interview and you're sitting there and they ask you a question. Well, Mr. Smith, where you want to be in 5 years? You know that bullshit question they always ask you. Sorry. They always ask you that. So before you answer that question, don't immediately start talking. Take a deep breath. Well, sir, in 5 years, I intend to be running this department. Some bullshit. Whatever you want to say. But all I'm saying is the process, that you notice the process. The question was asked. Take a deep breath. And then start talking. That gives you that moment to process a thought better than you opening up with a stumbling statement. You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
This is something that people should know. If certain things people don't know about interviewing, it's certain things people don't know about communication. I don't know certain things about communication, but I try to learn everything I can about it. And I try to use it to my best ability. And no matter what you study, no matter what you learn about communication, it doesn't matter. It's never going to be in a position where it's there to satisfy somebody else's need. It's there to satisfy your need. You don't learn to communicate for somebody else. You're learning to communicate for yourself. And you ain't learning to communicate to fit in at your job. You're learning to communicate for yourself because you owe it to yourself to be a better communicator than you might be right now. You owe it to yourself. How would you feel if you could just communicate in any platform and you're not sitting there for a whole hour and 30 minutes or however long you're sitting somewhere in a question and answer setting and you don't say anything. You don't ask any questions. You just sit there. And you're only not asking questions. You have questions. You're not asking them because you don't know how to get in. That was me. I'm telling you from experience. I know how it goes when you don't know how to get involved in situations like that. Depending, and everybody in the room white but you. And you
Again,
don't
brother.
black.
Again, brother.
What?
We got the green book is no more. Why we got all these black institutions? If separate but equal is inherent, if separate is inherently unequal.
Why do we have all the institutions, or why is it separate but unequal?
Why do we if the institution of if segregation if so I guess voluntary segregation is okay.
On what side?
Any side. I'm saying that if we were
voluntary.
You're an American, right? You fought for this country. Which one did you fight for? The black America or white America?
I fought for the United States Army.
Which is what?
I didn't consider black or white during that time. There was no room to consider black or white during that time. But there were separations of black and white during that time.
Right.
Because some of us had to fight to make it through a particular career, and I had to fight all my life. What they say? All my life I had to fight.
No, but I guess my question is we created this dual society. We didn't create it.
We didn't create it.
But we have a dual society.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying if we're gonna ever improve our status in this society, can we do it with a dualness, a black one, and I mean, can we ever be equal in America with a
Equal
dual?
to what?
So why do we have separate?
Equal to what? Equal to what?
Why did we create the separate organizations?
Because of it's the principle that you see is communication. You see how the communication goes with black people in communication. We don't go beyond a short period of understanding the other person's purpose of that communication. But when we don't understand immediately what that other person is trying to communicate, we instantly start to discredit what that person is talking about because we don't understand it. Not because we don't know what they're saying. We hear everything they're saying. We just don't understand why they're saying these particular things. So we discredit it to make ourselves feel better about what they just said. When even if I don't know if they're talking about you, talking about the situation, talking about something, but you discredit it so you can feel better about not understanding what they're talking about, and you're basically cutting that person off. You're shutting that person's concern off. Now that person is feeling some kind of way about talking to you because you just disrespected them, and now, in order to get even with that disrespect, I'm gonna have to F you up.
So when I ask you about Jack and Jill, you say, well, you
I
say,
don't know who Jack and Jill is.
but you say Jack and Jill went up to this beanstalk, right?
They did down, they went up the hill to catch a pail of water.
Okay, were they white or black?
I'll tell you right now, they had to be white. We ain't going up no damn hill. We get no water. Water run down here. That's just stupid. And that's the kind of stuff that they do. They create these fairy tales and they put them out there, and we take them and we steady go by them like we steady say, well, that big white man in the red suit dropped them toys off under that tree, and we know it's a damn lie. We tell all these stories and take them away from the credibility that technically goes to you or me or another day. We take away the reality of life in order to make it easier, and it don't make it no easier. So why we bullshitting ourselves? It's just plain out. I had to say it that way because that's exactly what we're doing. We're bullshitting ourselves. We're telling ourselves that Santa Claus did it. We're telling ourselves that a bunny laid an egg. We're telling ourselves that we're thankful for it, and we're killing all these turkeys. We're telling ourselves we're happy for this country on the 4th of July, when June 19th is our 4th of July. We're doing all these different things that's discredited or that's credited what they are lying about it.
Trump took away Juneteenth, didn't
He can't. That's a federal holiday, whether he like it or not. He can't stop us from celebrating. We can stop ourselves, and that's our biggest problem. We're self-defeating attitudes when it comes to stepping over the line and being who you really are. I've been laid off. I've quit jobs. I've just suffered 5 Article 15s and all these different things. I've been left in Bosnia for 6 months when I was supposed to be back in Germany, and I had to go to Congress to get out of Bosnia. So that's the kind of stuff happening to black folks that don't talk too damn much. You just have to know what goes with the territory. And if you ain't ready, don't say a word. And when you're ready, you say what the hell you mean and mean what the hell you say. But you don't do that until you're ready. If you ain't ready to lose that job, if you ain't ready to get fired, you ain't ready to get laid off, you ain't ready to get passed over, keep your mouth closed. That's the best advice I can give you when it comes to communicating and not losing.
if we had the green book today, would we have more black hotels and more black places
No,
owned by black folks?
no,
Why?
no, because you got to realize the objective of the people, the powers that be. And when I say the powers that be, you know exactly who these pilgrims are. The powers that be. They know what they needed to do 50 years ago. 50 years ago, look how many acres of land the farmers had. 2026, 50 years later, look at how many acres the farmers had. 2/3 of the farmers' acres have been lost since the 50s. And they haven't been lost naturally. They've been lost because of inducing struggles by the government, by the federal government, by the state government, by the local government, by the neighbors that know you're a black farmer and they're going to cut you off from seeds, from fertilizer, from permits, from equipment, from everything you need to run that farm. They're going to make it difficult for you to get. You can't get a loan to get you the tractor to harvest your damn crop because you are black. That's the only reason. There's no other reason for black people to have to struggle to stay afloat the way we stay afloat.
Especially
You take everything you can from us, and we still gonna survive. And that's exactly what we've had to go through over the last 50, 100 years, 200 years. We've had to go through, and there's no way it's gonna get equal. There's no way it's going to get equal. Every single thing we've ever owned has been taken. Look at Central Park. Look at the many communities across America that were built by black people that have been destroyed. Some kind of way, they've been destroyed over the silliest things. They are silly people, and they do silly things all the time. And there's nothing we can do to change it. Only thing we can do is figure out our own way of success and apply it and ignore the hell out of them. And don't let them in your business one way or another, because all they want to do is get you to laughing and get you to talking about what you own and what you have. My friend rode his bike to the University of Texas in Austin one day, and he was an assistant dean, and he was fired the next week. But he had worked there for almost 3 years. And he feels that he was fired because he rode his bike, his Harley Davidson, to work.
He feels like he was fired.
Huh?
He feels like he was fired.
Yeah, because of the bike.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so he ended up working in El Paso at another university, and that's where we ran into him at. That we ran into a student at a restaurant, and they told us that he was there.
What?
And so we hooked up with him. But that's the kind of stuff we have to deal with, and you can't tell me there's not a situation you can come up with of a black person being blackballed in a job. If it's not a job, it's a school, it's a something. It is something in front of you, stopping you from progressing if you have to deal with them. It's that simple. I don't care if you're 13 or 58, you still have to deal with them. And all they have to do is target you. And they will target you if you talk too much. And when I say talk too much, I mean the child talking to an adult as if the child is an adult. The child has a responsibility to come to you as a parent and say, this teacher was picking on me. And that parent has the responsibility to go to that school and talk to that teacher in front of that child. You, as a parent, if you ain't doing that now, or if you haven't done that for your children, as they grew up, then you missed a very, very important part of their lives, and that was that school. Because that school is their life. And if you don't know what's going on over there, it can be an entirely different world than it was when you were in high school. And once you realize that, you'll feel like you're on stranger's ground when you walk on the high school campus because it ain't like it used to be. It's caged in like a prison right now. And there's not much difference than a prison. This is public school. Now they're forcing public school in the state of Texas to say the Lord's Prayer before class. They just forced them a year ago to say the Pledge of Allegiance before class. And now they got to have a scripture up on the wall in every classroom. I don't remember what scripture, but they do. And this is forced indoctrination, in my opinion, because no classroom contains everybody under the same religion. You should have the right to choose your religion.
Hey, Alex, I'm in a meeting. Let me call you as soon as I get out of this meeting.
Oh, okay.
All right, since I know you got something pending and we've been on at least an hour and 15 minutes.
Well, one thing I did want to just throw out there to our listeners
This is Clark.
is I didn't know, and you and our listeners probably didn't know, that Texas is only one of 8 states that don't pay prison inmates an hourly wage. Texas is one of 8 states. So if you get a 20-year sentence in Texas, when you get out, you get a $50 voucher, and that's it.
And you own your own.
Whatever it is, 250, whatever it is. That's it.
So you don't get paid for anything?
Texas got TCI. They got a private corporation that makes furniture and all kind of stuff, right? They got that part of the Texas prison system, and then you got the work that you do in the prison. You don't get paid nothing. Not 30 cents an hour, not 50 cents an hour. The state with the highest salary is New Jersey. They pay $2 an hour. Texas pays nothing. How can now if we're overrepresented,
owing the state.
if we're overrepresented in the prison system, why don't you hear that on the agenda?
Why I don't hear that on the agenda of who?
The political agenda.
Because the politicians not necessarily there for us. It's so far behind, and it's going to take so many years for.
But do you think that we're disproportionately affected by the criminal?
Huh?
Do you think we're disproportionately affected by the criminal justice system?
Yeah, absolutely. And you and I both know we're what 7-3, 70% to 30% ratio.
You work for a state agency, right?
No, I work for federal rate.
Okay, federal. So it wasn't state.
No.
But you worked with state people.
Yes.
Every desk, every chair, every paperclip that a state worker had was made by prison labor.
Really?
TCI. So when you go down to Austin and you go into one of those office towers, state employees, everything in there,
prison made furniture,
and they don't make a dime.
Now, that's a whole nother fight. I wouldn't even be willing to tackle that fight yet because it's so big and it's been going on for so long. It's going to take somebody with a lot more money than I got.
Well, the problem is 42.
That's a problem that cannot be fixed by
42 states pay something.
Yeah, we can voice it, but if we don't get,
I just want to talk about communication.
Senate floor would make it over some of these other issues we have.
No, because can I say this? This issue has a real impact on black people. We're out there fighting all these other progressive issues. And we wonder why you can't get that person that's registered to come out and vote, who's got a member in prison, a family member in prison. You wonder why we can't get a certain segment of society to come out and vote in the black community. Because the issues that impact, they're not interested in transgender issues. They're not interested in all this other kind of GLBTQ plus issues.
Mm-hmm.
They're interested in issues that really have a real impact on their lives that's going unaddressed. You can't, if we're disproportionately represented in the prison system in Texas, aren't we disproportionately represented on this issue?
Absolutely, I mean, that's a whole nother level of discussion, and I don't see how I can compile an answer long enough to justify this situation. It deserves better. It deserves me doing more research in order to give you a qualified answer.
No, I mean,
I
looked it up. We're one of 8 states that don't pay anything.
Yeah, I mean, it ain't just started not paying anything. How long it's been not paying anything? A
Well, it
long
has
time.
to be. It has to be forever.
And all these Congress people and all these other folks ain't put it on the docket.
But here's the thing. We're proud that we got more black people than any other state, including Mississippi, including Alabama. We're proud of that.
In prison?
No, in the state.
Oh, talking about the population.
In terms of population. So if we got more in population, we got more in jail.
Yeah. I agree.
We talk about communication. The state business, the black association that deals with doing business with the state. We got more blacks in this state than any other state, yet we only get 1%, less than 1% of the contracts.
Nothing changed. Been that way for what, 50 years now, 100 years? Still ain't got more than 1%. And when you say more than 1%, you mean probably less than 0.5%.
Yeah, I say less than 1%.
So it might be even no more than one black contractor working for the state.
And he may be.
How bad it is. It's either like that in San Antonio. I mean, they
like you talked about it. You talked about
how they get us at on this. I'm going off topic a second.
Yeah.
But this is where they get you on there. You fight for them to get included for black people on these contracts that the city might let, right? You fought to get entered on those contracts for them to set aside a certain amount of that contract for black people. So you win. You get your 1/3% of set asides for all contracts for that city or that state. You get the black folks will be able to get 1/3 of those contracts. So now you let the contract, and in the contract, what you see is 1/3 of these contracts will be set aside for minorities. They just F you off right there as a black person. Because when they say 1/3 of these contracts will be set aside for minorities, who do you think they're talking about? They ain't just talking about black people. They talking about black people, Mexican people, Chinese people, Japanese people, any other people that ain't white people, all in one group. So black people have disappeared again because they call you that group, minorities. Never ever allow them to classify you as a minority. And to be technical about it, you ain't black either. So stop checking that box. Don't check anything. And if they tell you you need to, well, if we can't look at it, check white. But you ain't black. Because all you got to do to know what you ain't is look up the definition, because you definitely ain't dead if you're in the sound of my voice.
Yeah, you can put down anything, can't you?
Yeah, you can put down what you want. They cannot dictate to you what you are.
And
you were what you are before they decided what you were.
That's a good point, because if everybody put down white that's in the black community, they wouldn't know how to, because they use the census data to do all kind of discrimination.
You gotta throw the system off balance, because you're functioning exactly like they want you, so everything's running smooth. How can you change the trajectory of the system by sitting still? You can't. Change it by doing something different. Whatever you do it different.
So when the census come, put white.
Yeah. What they gonna do?
And so when they look at the
Why,
census,
how can they put something down you didn't tell them to put that?
so they can't say that this is a black area of town.
No, they can't.
That census tract,
Therefore, you stop all this
all this
mind-blowing
racism.
segregations by taking away the element that they use to decide.
Right, you take away the element, the matrix that they use for everything. Census tracts. This is where all the blacks are, because this is where all the blacks put down their black.
Yep.
This is where you put down. Yeah, change the matrix. Yeah,
That's the winner there, boy. Changing the white. You're white, you know what you are. You're a Moorish American, to be honest with you. You can be Asiatic or you can be Moorish American.
Now, do you think
that you are? Everything was given to you by Mr. Billy.
Now, do you think the census takers would come back to your house and verify that?
What? I mean, that would be great. Come on back, verify. I'm white.
I mean, if they was on the street and you convinced everybody on your street to put down on the census, everybody in the household is white. You don't think that they come back and check it?
It doesn't matter because they can come down to Santa's or Chuck Willie's barbecue in the black neighborhood to find me and ask me that question. I'm still gonna say white. It doesn't matter. They can't change. They can't lock me up. They can't find me. They can't do a single thing to me for saying what I feel like I am.
Yeah, because you get to choose.
What can they do?
You get to choose.
If you didn't have a choice, why is it on them? You got a choice. So do something that changes the trajectory of your...
They'll change the law and say you got to put whatever's on your birth certificate.
No, you don't. Because on your birth certificate, yours and mine probably say color.
No, mine ain't that. Mine says Negro.
You ain't Negro.
Black.
You ain't black.
It don't say color.
Tell me how can you be black? I'm just gonna do this. We gotta talk about this right now. How can you be black, Negro, or color? No, I'm just using those three.
Yeah, that's true.
What makes you black, Negro, or color? Either one.
It sure ain't it ain't the title.
But what makes you black? What makes you Negro? What makes you color? What makes you African American? What does it? You gotta come from somewhere. You didn't just get spit out. What makes you these things? There's no such thing as black, African American, colored,
Negro.
Well,
no, there's
Civil War. Or prior to the Emancipation Proclamation. There's no racial definition for that.
Right.
Where did they come from? They didn't come from God. God made you with the nationality before anything changed on you. Before you even got a name, you had a nationality. What is it? You didn't disappear when you got abducted and held in bondage.
But you're right. That's the system that they use to control.
What system? What do you mean?
The census. That's one of the systems.
Oh, the census.
That's one of the systems.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you on that.
That's how they get to say that's a black area over there.
Yeah.
Because that's what they get the data from the census.
The census telling them. So that's why I don't ever open my door half the time. I don't most of the time.
So if everybody put down they white, the census got to say that's a white census tract. Where they can no longer steal.
Everybody understand. It's a difficult road to hoe. And you're not going to get down that road just cutting grass. You're going to have to cut some cotton down to get some of that grass out of the way. So stop trying to be that one. because you're not that one. And you ain't going to heaven, and I doubt if you're going to hell. You don't know where you're going. So quit BSing yourself. With that, Claude, give us your final thoughts.
Well, I mean, my final thoughts are summarized by what we've been talking about. We've covered the gamut. We started out talking about communication and ended up talking about the Census Bureau. So we've talked about the Green Book and why we have so many organizations. What we try to do is bring subjects up to the table and talk about things in a different perspective that don't get talked about every day on any other talk shows. So I hope we've stimulated the mind, reshaped some thoughts and ideas so that we can move forward if we're never going to leave this country. So again, it's been great being a part of BNN 247.
Like I said, thank you, Claude. Appreciate everything. We really do appreciate you here on BNN 247. Thank you so much for your input. I will see you next Sunday at 3:30 p.m. I want to say thanks to Claude. He always bring the heat and bring the information to us every time we get on this line. I just want you to know they are listening. Not much we're going to be able to do about it either. But we will continue to broadcast as well as have this conversation. I want to say again, I welcome you to the Black News Network, BNN 247, the real voice of Black America, where we bring the truth in the midst of all these lies. In the beginning, we talked about our introduction with our co-host, was Mr. Claude Foster. Our subject today is communication, why and who we fight. I hope that you received something from this presentation. This is the Black News Network telling you that we appreciate everything you do. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, and contribute to us if you get a chance, because we definitely can use all of your support. Thank you so much for listening. This is BNN 247 out. See you next Sunday at 3.